Welcome back to the channel. Thank you all for hanging with me on this windy Sunday. We're covering some water with a spinnerbait. It's not a real big one, but it's kind of a tough fishing day. It's so windy that you can't really get on what I want to get on. But I will say, these windy days can make the fishing There went my spinnerbait. Problem with a light wire spinnerbait. These windy days can be good if you use the wind to your favor. So you're not going to get the fish exactly where you want. But I always like to get the wind to my back, especially in the post spawn when I'm covering a lot of water. You know, I don't really have any places that I'm too excited to go fish. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just staying near the main river channel, staying near the creek channels, and fishing whatever structure I can fish, and I'm covering a lot of water. I got a lot of waypoints on these areas, but I'm not catching any fish on my waypoints. I'm just covering a ton of water, getting the wind to my back so I can make a super long cast. Because the fish are spread out, you really have no idea where they're going to be. And then I'm not really focusing too much on the waypoints. I'm just moving. You know, a lot of those waypoints could be there because there's a stump or some shell. So you definitely want to make a cast where your waypoint is at, but I don't think that's really what the bass are focusing on. They're just out here to feed, and they're coming out in all directions. So cover as much water as you can. I'd prefer to be throwing a spinnerbait. My spinnerbait wire broke, so now I'm throwing a chatterbait. But again, long cast, almost getting all the way down to my backing. I think that's a mistake I've made over the years with the wind is you want to go and fish where you've been catching some bass, where where you typically like to fish, and that's just not how it happens with this condition. You know, and wind is a good thing. If you have some visibility in your water, you know, you don't have super dirty water, you have some clarity, wind is going to help the bite. You'll catch fish on spots that you can only catch them on the windy days. So you got to go run those spots. Follow the wind. And get it to your back. You know, you don't want to be thrown into it. You know, if you have a real specific spot like a brush pile or a stump, you know, maybe you do have to set up on the downwind leeward side of it because that's your only option. But a lot of times, if you don't have a real specific location where you're throwing, and you really want to cover a big area, getting it to your back and bombing your lure out there is a really good way to fish, especially in the post spawn when it's all about putting the trolling motor down. And the fish are coming. You know, they're coming to the main creek channels, they're coming to the main river channel.